Yeah, so uh, I was uh, I was painting as a kid, and but then my parents were not supportive when I began the journey, so I had to take a long tour to come back, convince them that I'm capable of doing what I'm doing. So I obeyed their path. I took up the education, whatever they've expected me to. So I've taken up architecture, and I'm really glad that I didn't take up for fine art during my um, you know, college. I took up architecture as a bigger spectrum. I got exposed to various spectrums of possibilities. I had made friends with filmmakers, graphic designers, ceramic designers, and animators. And I could clearly visualize and see how different walks of life come together. Um, but I have always seen connections between these. I always felt the inherent harmony between all the art forms is actually the same. It's just the medium that is changing, and and because I've always been open to life, for me, I've never took architecture or took up furniture design with an intent to become a designer or an artist. I kept exploring, and living life was very much more important than pursuing art to me. And with that perspective, I kept on exploring, and I've taken up architecture, and I've joined one of the architects as a junior architect in Bangalore, and he happened to um, you know architect Chetan from Bangalore, and he put me in Hampi, Hospet, North Karnataka, to handle some projects, and I. Uh, I really enjoyed my stay at Hampi. I really enjoyed, the landscapes, and that's the first time I felt how a space can actually trigger an artist and bring something very deep. So during my stay at Hampi, all those things that I've suppressed within me, the child within me that was trying to express through art, bursted out. I wrote an email to my boss saying I can't practice architecture for a while. Can you give me a break? And I took a break for a month and kept on painting whatever came. And that was a big breakthrough. Later, I realized art is a comfort zone for me. I can keep on being very, uh, yeah, he's here. Chetan, architect Chetan is here. So he was the one who I'll quickly introduce. Hi,
Hi,
Lidra.
Tom.
Oh, okay, okay. I was just talking about you. Thank you. So he's our mentor, he's our teacher, architect, who runs a firm called Come Designs, and he's also we have so many common interests, which is Humpy, education systems, love for films and um, design. Um, So I was talking about how my presence at Hampi had actually let me go deep into art. You remember coming to the room and opening the door, and the sheets were all over the place, and you're like, "What have you gone mad?" So I realized art was becoming more of a comfort zone, and I took up furniture design because I realized I'm not good at detailing, organizing, managing. And I'm glad I did that. I got exposed to so many other spectrums. But at the end of the course, the last semester, I realized when an ID was formed, it was formed started with an intent that students meet the industries. Industrialization was picking up back then in 1950s, and the students were expected to meet the industries. And unfortunately, the vision is still the same, and I could not see myself fitting into the industry. So I walked out of the college and I started traveling, and I didn't tell my parents I didn't have money. So alternative schools became my space for stay. I used to spend time with children, and that's when I got back to art. And I began watercolors, and eventually, within 4 or 5 years, people started recognizing my work, and I started surviving through art. And uh, I also realized I need to share the way, I mean, I've learned. So I started teaching, started doing more of workshops, and I did teaching for a couple of months, doing a lot of 8-week workshop, 10-week workshops. What I realized was somewhere people were only interested about learning the techniques on the surface, but it was not hitting them deep, or they're not able to connect to the medium very deep. They're not able to resonate or have their own relationship with the medium, which I felt was my problem. I need to work on this, and I took a break for a good 6, 8 months, sitting with myself. Why am I not able to let the student have the connection with the medium? And a lot of questions went through, and the realization was that people were not able to. I mean, unless and until we create a mind space, a space within their mind. Uh, uh, there's the connect is very much on the surface. So how do we create the mind space is where the journey began, designing this curriculum. So I sat for a year on those lines, trying to figure out where do we really begin with art. And we started with what is a dot, how does a dot become a line, what is a space. We start with basic questions, and uh, instead of trying to look at how we can create artworks out of each exercise, we've tried to design questions, curate spaces for reflection, where every exercise become a tool to question one's own um, situation or context. For example, one of the exercises is, imagine you are a dot, and imagine your spouse or your friend is another dot. How do you move around the other dot? Suddenly, we see ourselves as a dot on the paper, and our movement talks about our freedom or our restriction. Do we feel? We also talk about the boundaries. How do we place ourselves in the boundaries, and how do we move within the boundaries, and how do we have relationship with other dots? So every exercise is based on, questioning, space for reflections, space for silence. Um, and so what I've quickly realized was, once I launched the courses, it was an instant connect. Students were able to immediately connect to it, and there was definitely a lot of um, uh, uh, the kind of feedback and the warmth that I receive from the students that have taken up the course is encouraging me to push this idea into the next phase. And I realized, because there are too many students who joined, I was not able to handle it. I thought I needed help, and I posted something on Instagram asking for someone to join me. And within a day or a couple of days, we have received more than 200 applications. I had to stop the applications, and Ankita was one of the applicants. It was an instant connect. Uh, I was reading through their letter of intent, and I was literally crying. I realized how so many people are craving for this space of uh, connections, craving for a space to be heard, a space where people share without any expectations, for the love of life. And so after reading a lot of letters, I realized I've my role was shifting from being an artist to being a facilitator, creating and holding a space for a lot of creators to come and exchange their journeys, their point of views, and constantly have a team to research and you know I want to be accountable to whatever I'm doing. So we're not talking about energies or chakras. We are talking about neuroscience. We want to base um our entire journey on, uh, whatever we are trying to facilitate through what we are accountable to. So I'll quickly go through the presentation, but before that, do you have any questions? Anything you wish to share?
No, we can go ahead, I think. I don't think I have
Sure.
any questions, but if anybody else
Thank you, Vedant.
has anything.
You planning to sing for us?
After you finish.
No, no, please now. I needed some break.
I see. उड़ जाएगा, उड़ जाएगा, उड़ जाएगा हंस अकेला. Please go ahead.
You that so I met Vedant last, I think, couple of weeks ago, and we were having a long chat, and there were a couple of takeaways from our exchange. One of which was he was sharing about the one of the poems by Kabir, who says, "Breath is like a bird. Uh, Inhale and exhale. The bird which comes out and then goes in, and your lungs or your body is like a nest. Suddenly, your perception about breath completely changes just when you visualize your breath as a bird, then you suddenly start seeing the relationship with your breath. That was that's the kind of impact the poets or artists can have in shifting, transforming our perception of our conditioning or reality, no? What we think. Thank you so much, Vedant. So yeah, let me quickly
True, true. Yeah.
walk you
That
through.
was Lalon Fakir.
Lalun Fakir. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
beating was so this thing, right? Kabir, right? The heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what the hell is Watermind? Uh, so Watermind, the word just came very much like a fluke. Just came, walked into me when I was walking. And I really sat with that and I felt there's so much of potential because water is very dynamic. It can change into many forms. And the most beautiful attribute of water that I really connected here was water can also evaporate and become nothing. So uh, that was. So we are looking at art as a tool for journey inward. This is a space where we practice art not just as a practice to create some output. Maybe yeah, I mean the creation is part of it. Whatever comes out is a blessing, but the intent is to explore our own conditioning, our own curiosity, our own fears, and our own joys, whatever. So we look at it as a space for inner journey. So now it has the thoughts were shifting from being a platform for watercolor to a container or a space for holistic learning where we see potential in connection between various art forms. So watercolor continues to expand into ecosystem containing music, movement, visual arts, theater, nutrition. With a strong research base, every activity we do, we are going to document, we are going to uh, connect it with neuroscience. Yeah, what we do is the first thing that we try to do before we even introduce a medium is settle the mind, identify how do we organize the mind, how do we organize one's own chaos, recognize one's own chaos, and try and create exercises and activities that will settle the mind first of all, and awaken different senses through different activities, not just visual sense, but your tactile and taste and other senses. And the core aspect of Watermind is accessing silence. I believe that's where everything emerges. Between two notes, there's always a silence. Between two thoughts, there's always a silence. Uh, Most of us, we get carried away by the thoughts and the notes and the sounds, but how do we sit with the silence between the notes? How do we sit with the silence between the thoughts is our core practice. So the intent is again well-being, identifying the silence, and genuine human connections. We're not really trying looking at this as an expanding into a large scale, but we are trying to expand this into a, a space with many experiences. I mean, in terms of the quality of experiences, it is an expansion. Um, we also uh, look at how we can awaken the inner teacher, where we leave the student at one point, let them identify the guru within them, and try and sit with their own, problems. So Ankita has written this beautiful line: "Artists can be seekers here, seekers can be artists. Together we become the art." Yeah. So how we do is the most important thing. So we do courses, we do retreats, we bring in different co-creators, artists, researchers, scientists, come together and talk about one thing. I'll get there. These are few activities: designing immersive workshops, um, grounding practices. We also are looking at creating products in the long run. Yeah, this is our mandala. Our values around silence, spontaneity, genuine human connections will be the core of the center of Watermind, and followed by Watermind Heart, which is the core team. The core team contains of research, connections, curation team, services team, product team, and systems team. The next circle is a team of co-creators, artists, therapists, nutritionists, biologists, farmers coming together and constantly exchanging dialogue. And then the Watermind community is the seekers, patrons who are willing to learn from us. So this is the mandala. This is how we look at the whole constitution. So these are our pillars. These are our pillars of progression. We begin with the intent, setting the intent, and organizing the mind space. We work on focus. We work on designing activities that build focus, activities that build attention, exercises and uh, experiences that will let one become aware of their own process with an intent, always with an intent to access that silence and sit with that silence. And after that, we are leaving the students. The flow is as a personal journey. Once they are in that silent space, once they're equipped with technical skills or equipped with handling their own self. A state of flow is like is a blessing that we don't know when it comes. When it comes, it just takes over us. Um, so this is what we don't want to do. We don't want to promise enlightenment, or we don't want to sell transcendence. All we work is within the lines of neuroscience. Yeah, this is what I wanted to start rolling with the activities. This is the first thing that we came up with. Every Thursday, 7 to 8:30, we are calling a guest speaker. Could be a musician or designer or an architect. We pick up a topic for that month. It could be the science of silence, it could be spontaneity, it could be willpower, it could be the art of seeing. How is the science of silence from the perspective of a musician? What is silence from a perspective of an architect? What is the silence from a perspective of a dancer or a therapist? And so all throughout the month, we keep inviting different people from different walks of life, and there'll be constant exchange, and there'll be a team documenting the process. And we don't know how this is going to take shape. I literally don't know how this is going to uh, take shape, but all I'm inspired about is just bringing them, juxtaposing these lovely people from different walks of life and talking about one thing instead of trying to talk about too many things. Just focus on one word or one sentence for a month and explore that from different walks of life. And how why gather is, yes, because explored through because inward journey deepens as we explore through music, neuroscience, poetry. Silence becomes something none of that them could be alone. Um, Why join? Ways to join Watermind is either there can be a contributor who is a creator, researcher, artist, or a designer. There will be a seeker who is Patreon or student or artist or like-minded people. We're trying to bridge the gap between contributor and seeker, who is willing to share their journey and who is willing to learn from others' journey. So this is where I am right now. I want to put this across and see what you guys have to share, or uh, share your insights, see how we can take this forward. So before Ankita, do you have anything to share? Did I miss on anything?
No, no, not right, Shyam. Thank you. Yeah, I'm more eager to hear from others.
Yeah. So how do we do this? Shall we do a quick exercise? Uh, Let me say a word and see what evokes in each of us. Okay? When I say the word silence, what are the words? What are the places? What are the sensations? What are the memories that comes to your mind? You can just jot them down. When I say the word silence, what are the words, places, sensations, memories that come to your mind? You can jot them down. Anyone willing to share what came to their mind?
I could go first.
Subhashri, yes.
So the words that I wrote are seeing and receiving,
Okay.
breath,
Which means
um, and then a memory that came to me was drawing the details of a leaf.
belief.
Of a leaf.
Oh, interesting.
Um, yeah, I couldn't think of anything that happened in recent days. This happened like a year ago, where I was drawing the details, and then uh, all I could feel was the breath, and like there is something that's there, and I'm receiving something.
There's
So
a connect between the object and yourself. There's
yeah,
no distance between you two.
yeah, it's like a vibe, what transfer, some kind of a,
Mm,
without any inhibition, without any judgment, without
that
any,
is
yeah,
beautiful. Actually, silence had to happen for you to connect to that
yeah,
object, is what I'm sensing.
yeah.
Beautiful. Anyone else who wish to share?
Sham,
Soumya.
hi.
Soumya, yes.
Yeah. So first, when you said silence, right now, the place I am in, um, for me, I could relate it to fear because, like I have a little boy who runs around and always, screaming and doing things. And when he goes quiet, I know something is wrong.
Oh, interesting. From the
So yeah,
perspective of a mother.
of a mother. So when he's quiet, like, you really have to go check what he's up to, or, like something is really wrong that time.
How
So right
beautiful.
now, yeah, silence is fear for me. And I also feel, and the memory was it took me back to school when they tell maintain silence, like say a prayer, things like that. And the place is home again. So when it's silence, there is fear. So right now, it's fear for me. Yeah.
It's beautiful. It actually takes me back to the fact that being, um, you know, as we were in the forest, living in the forest long ago,
Mm.
thousands of years ago, women could not sleep in silence. They needed some sound. Uh,
Yeah, true,
some
true.
sound.
Yes.
Maybe there's also some of that is in the DNA of
Yeah,
women.
maybe.
Thank you for sharing,
Yeah.
Soumya. Anyone
Thanks,
who
Sham.
wish?
Yeah, can I
Yeah,
share?
Chet. Yeah,
Yeah,
sir.
I think something very similar. Silence is something which is quite loud in terms of its chaos in the mind, but which does not speak out.
Hmm.
I have a couple of negative ideas about silence right now, which is fair because that's what's coming to my mind right now. I think another big silence is the silence of the world to the acts of war which is happening right now.
Right.
Right.
Wow.
I think that's quite powerful because
It is.
people are not willing to really take sides or
Right.
really understand this issue of love is just kept aside. We're all
Right.
looking at what this war is trying to do to us. That is the second word thing which came to mind, and I think the third one, as an architect, I thought it was about that space, which makes you. I just put in some words there. A space which exists to erase one's experience of the same, which is very difficult for us to achieve as an architect, which erases that whole experience of that space, which could be achieved by the absence of light.
Absence of light. Wow.
So I think that's a thought which just came to my mind.
It's very interesting. When there's absence of light, there's no perception, there's no seeing, especially the sense of vision. We're not
Yeah.
seeing anything, and the seeing is usually provokes more thoughts. It's when our senses are exposed, is where we are also exposed to thinking. And suddenly, when there is no light or not, we're not exposed to sense perception, silence takes over. Very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Michelle?
In terms of the words, space and empty came up for me.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of sensations, feeling very relaxed, wanting to yawn, muscles relaxing.
Relaxing the muscle.
And in terms of memory, it takes me back to some of my one-on-one therapy sessions today, where I felt a deep stillness and a deep love when I was just witnessing and
Mm-hmm.
listening very deeply with clients.
Beautiful. So you found the silence when you were listening to your lovely. Thank you. Anyone with a place in their mind when I speak about silence? Anyone with an association to a place?
Can I go ahead?
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So, see, I work with children. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, I
yes.
work with children. Almost, it's said that I'm in a noisy place, that's school full of children around me. But somehow that particular place offers me a lot of silence because that's the time when I can extend this gap between two thoughts. And at times when I know I'm aware that there is a chaos, but if I'm able to drop that thought, that's the peace. And children bring me back to the present moment. They
How
never
lovely.
let me, go drool in past or go towards
Yeah.
future. So I
Here,
really
I think
enjoy.
what I picked from this is you being attentive to children is putting you to the silence. Your value or your love, your presence towards children is what is drawing you towards silence.
Right.
Lovely. Vedant Bhai, silence between the strings.
Yeah, between the strings, breath itself, like Shubhashri said. And I remember a place, and also it was a memory. We used to sleep, my tata, my brother, and I, we used to sleep on the terrace
Okay.
in the night, and
Uh-huh.
it used to be silent at that time. Nights, lights would go off, the street lights would go off, and it would be silent. Yeah.
It's interesting how silence is different from a perspective of a mother, from a perspective of a counselor, from a perspective of someone who listens to the sound. From Vedant's perspective, silence is from the sounds. He's saying it's silent. There are no sounds. There are no noises. So he's aware of the silence, that is absence of sound for him. For architect Chetan, is absence of light is silence for him. For Sandhya ji, being present towards children is silence for her. It's very interesting. Bindu, do you have anything to share?
In fact, for me, actually, music gets completed in silence,
Wow.
other than putting it out there and playing what, or recording or singing what, to fill the silence. Sometimes the silence helps you complete the music in within yourself, within the listener.
Beautiful, thank you.
Sometimes it's also a completion.
Bindu or Shimon? Shimon, are you here? Bindu, yes.
Um, Listening to everybody, I had written mountains, vast open space, or ocean. So it was not really sense of silence, but I think maybe it's just vastness of space and maybe distances from the source of sound. That is,
Oh,
I don't think it's about absolute silence. It's about that spaciousness that allows you to have a distance. I think
yeah.
something could be loud if it's very.
Actually, for the silence to exist, there has to be sound. There has to be. Do you
Yeah.
think so?
Yes, and I think the notion of silence, I don't know about absolute silence. Even when there's no sound, you can hear your own blood circulation. So it's quite deafening, actually.
Right.
That absolute silence is very deafening and scary, actually. Uh, sensations, yes, breath and something which is calm. But when it comes to words, so maybe I'm relating it to sensation also.
Mhm.
Silence is, like Chetan also said, it's very potent when it's a choice. And on one side, it can be healing, but on the other side, it can be a lot of exercise of power. And it also means gaps of not knowing. And yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Beautiful.
Yeah, I have one more. I mean, when Bindu was speaking, I think it just hit me that one of her songs, no, Mayavi Manase from Nathi Kirani. That's quite silence. That's a powerful statement of silence for me. Uh, right? Because I think it talks about how the mind is a magician and how it keeps, and that happens in your mind. And it's a like also what like Sham said as between the points, the pause point which happens. And I think that song really hits it hard there.
Mhm. I haven't listened to this.
I'll send it to you.
Thank you. Pavitra, do you have something to share?
Yeah, there is lack of silence at my end. There are quite a few kids here, so I've been moving places to find a spot which can make you all listen to me. Yeah, so in fact, I could resonate with what Sandhya ji said and a little bit of what Vedant shared as well. I was reminded of this statement that was made by my music teacher. So she
Mhm.
always used to say, when I was a school going child and I used to be her student, she said the beauty of music lies in the gap. I could never digest it or understand it until and unless I started teaching children. So that's I think being patient uh, and trying to experience the gap between the notes is beauty, and that's equivalent to silence. And with respect to places that you had asked me, I could only picture a hilltop or by the lake. But then when I was trying to relive an experience that made me experience silence, there were noises like how Sandhya ji was mentioning, right? So it could be the birds chirping or water gushing or whatever. So then I said, okay, then it sounds oxymoronic, but so what I came to terms with was calmness is equivalent to silence. That's what I could infer or understand. Yeah. So that's
Thank
my
you.
reflection.
Thank you, Akka. Shimon was saying silence is beginning of wisdom. To be able to remain silent when most of the time the answer need not be through words or expression through whatever actions. Sometimes silence can also be an expression of an answer. Beautiful. Thank you. Bharat?
Um, Personally, for me, silence is always more about joy and learning,
Mhm.
at least for me. But I think, given what you were talking about, Sham, and what's happening around us, currently silence is also quite deafening
Yeah,
in the context of what's happening.
right. Ankita?
Silence for me, the words that I wrote was home and destination. And home, I've realized that like I don't know, like as all the conversations that I've had and all hearing you guys also, I realized that a child can be noisy, but one of the greatest needs of a child, I believe, is to have quiet spaces at home. And so silence reminds me of that. And
Recently, I was on a trip to this place called Rajkunda. It's a few hours away from my place. And luckily, I was staying in a hamlet where there were not a lot of people. There were maybe a couple of people there. And the place is surrounded by forests here and there. And in those pine, deodar forests, the trees are huge and there is always a breeze. There was snow. And the place around me was, sort of noisy. But I figured for the first time that theory that silence lives within you, I felt the embodiment of it, that I am carrying the silence, that I'm sensing, and the conditions here are conducive to hold that silence, even if it's noisy. So it felt
Oh,
like to me, yeah, as home should be, or at least for me, how I would like homes to be. Yeah.
very interesting. Said how the space around is actually helping you settle into the silence that you experience within. It's actually not in the outside there, it is within. Wow, beautiful. Frederica,
Yeah, thank you. So for me, straight away, the word was home. And I got the sensation in the heart space and some warmth expanding all over the body. But then at the same time, images of forests and mountains, where I've been living a lot, especially in these past few months, uh, for me is like where I feel that I embody the silence. But at the same time, when I was picturing myself in the mountains, only with no noise around, it came up as well the word of responsibility, because we seek for silence, but when we are really in silence, so no stimulus, nothing, so only ourselves, it's scary. And I realized how much I was really craving to be alone for a few months to be in touch with that silence. And when I was in touch with that, I was creating noise myself.
interesting.
So that was very interesting because, I say responsibility, I think, because when we are really in silence and there is nothing and only us, we cannot escape. So, and often we don't like what we see. So it's a lot of responsibility to be there with no judgment. And yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Frederica. And those who are tight on time can leave. I just want to give in a bit of gist of what we're trying to do, but I can connect back with you on phone call. Those who have time can stay back and give your feedback or your insights about how we can take this space forward. Um, how do we roll this? How do we run this platform? Please, it'd be lovely to hear from you.
I would like to share whatever I felt after I saw the presentation. I just felt what you're doing is such an amazing job, which is also a very much needed space, and I find a lot of resonance with what you do and how you have spent a lot of time with yourself in understanding. You started as an artist with watercolor, but the calling that you felt inside you, and to bridge it beautifully with Watermind, the name that you have created for it. So I just felt so happy that someone is doing this work, and I would wish to contribute to you in whatever way, as much as I can support with the time that I have. It's beautiful, and I just wish you the best. I feel you have really put it in a nice way, and it's going to lead um, in a beautiful way. It's like already it was very clear is what I felt when I saw that.
Yeah, all I felt was I really felt as long as the intent is pure and sacred, as long as I'm containing it with a lot of love, resources or the help will eventually happen or come. So Me or Ankita were sitting with this intent, making sure that we don't compromise on things on the name of expansion. Because when it comes to genuine human connections, it's about the scale and the number and time. How do we do that with a lot of quality of curation? We are right now moving towards curating things, curating activities. Yeah, thank you so much, Nandita. So nice of you express your thoughts. Thank you, Subhashri. I'll call you. Thank you. Bye. Anyone who wishes to share? Michelle?
Well, Shyam, so it's so reassuring, and I'm looking forward. Although I'm on short on time, but yet I would just say a sentence and then leave. It's about that the last slide, showed that scribble, and then
Yeah,
there was something which was taking towards flow.
yeah,
It hit me the most because it's ultimately about the flow
right,
and let it lead, like let it take us. So
right.
I have that feeling right now at this moment and
Thank,
looking forward.
thank you so much,
It was
Nandita.
nice meeting you all. Thank you so much. We'll stay connected. And I don't care about the time, but this is very, very important. It is calling. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandhya. Thank you so much. Anyone else? Uh, Thank you, Bindu. Thank you so much. Wishing you a quick recovery and looking forward to do some activities with you. Thank you. Sarvika,
Thank you so much.
thank you, Sarvika. Looking forward to work with you. It was wonderful meeting you last week.
Mhm.
I think
Me
yesterday,
too.
Kapsa, Ankita, we met
Yesterday. Yes, yes.
yesterday.
Yes.
Oh,
What is happening with you, Sham?
oh, a lot of things, yeah. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like last week. Okay. So yeah, in whichever way we can help you, your presence at India, please feel free to reach out.
Yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Take care, Sarvika.
You too.
Soumya, yes.
Yes, Sham. So it's really nice, like where you're taking it. And I would like to say, actually, from the beginning, you have been doing it. Maybe you have realized it only now. Yeah, because there was this point when, like, my inner voice started sounding like you. Because I was listening to a lot of, like, I was watching the videos, painting, and at one point, whatever I think was coming out in your voice.
Oh,
So, yeah. So that's how it was in those days. Like, I couldn't move out anywhere. I just had to be home with the baby. And my only outlet was Watermind. And sometimes when I couldn't speak for myself, I could hear your voice. So you have been doing it. And I think you are actually just realizing it now. So
okay.
yeah, and I'm really looking forward to where you're taking this.
Thank
And
you
thank you
so
so
much,
much for
Soumya.
having me today, Sham. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Um, Thank you, Nandita, and thank you. See you guys.
Thank you, everybody. See you soon.
Wow, Ankita, just took 1 hour, like the entire cycle of
Indeed.
my journey, and then also like I didn't really plan to do that activity. Glad I
Hmm.
did that, just to sense how this is working, and it's really inspiring to see how different perspectives are coming up.
Yeah, and it was so interesting also things that came up, no? Like I could never ever
Think
think
of,
that light could
uh,
be, and it just makes sense when I hear it. It just
yes,
makes But I would have never ever have come across it by myself. Very interesting. How are you feeling right
I'm
now?
feeling very, very, very good. Yeah,
Yeah.
very like especially after doing the activity, the way people responded. I
Mm.
think this is the space that I was visualizing, and it is very evident from there. This
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I was
I
did we do it too long? This meeting? Was it too
No,
much?
1 hour is good enough. And I think if we were done by the presentation by 6:40 or something, or before that even. And then there was this activity. So I think there was a lot of that integration also that happened. And I'm actually happy that organically silence became the center of the session, right?
Yes, yes,
Like
yes,
it happened. Nobody planned. You also didn't plan for
yes,
it.
yes,
But
yes.
it so happened. And that's really beautiful. I actually felt that this group that came, there was a, I don't know, like a certain validation for the work that we are trying to set up.
Mm,
And I'm very sure that if we are able to develop a template or a structure, a system, and
mm,
invite people, so they will be more than happy to, when we have a clear room exactly, ki this is the room, this is where we are doing this, and this is our process. So I
mm.
think people will be very inclined towards doing this. It's a sense that I got today just by
Yeah.
observing everybody and
Yeah, and
like
I'm
looking at.
sure most of these guys will be willing to come as guest speakers and contribute.
Yeah.
Um,
But it's
wow.
like I feel that we have to just work on the clarity of systems because there are these two sets of people, the artists and the seekers. तो वो differentiator लगा के and then we just have to set the system so people basically set the system in a sense कि get the chairs so people can sit on it. As
Yes,
simple.
yeah, great.
So ऐसा नहीं हो कि we are calling people and people are just roaming around in the room. We should have a chair for everybody, something like that.
No, we have some really wonderful Bindu and Vedant are like very famous musicians in South India. Like they've done award-winning films,
Hmm.
and they're very humble, very down to earth,
Hmm.
and
That
very
you sang
sensitive.
today, it's in my morning playlist. I listen to it every day. Urdu
Udachayada.
Kapila, yeah.
Oh,
But I listen to Kumar Gandhar, like he's another
yeah, yeah.
very
He started, no?
Hmm. हाँ तो उन्हीं का like I hear those songs. It was very surprising for me to hear it in the evening today. And I think Michelle is doing a workshop in Deer Park because
You know her, huh?
no, I don't know her. I was going through the schedule, like I go through the schedule of Deer Parks for my own course requirements and all. So I think she's doing a course sometime.
Yeah, yeah, she does. I'll share her Instagram with you.
Yeah,
Udachayada.
very interesting.
Wow, yeah. Everyone, I mean, everything rolled in just 1 hour, like right from taking from where Watermind began to what Watermind is, and then doing an activity and receiving a feedback. Wow, I didn't expect.
Clarity, yeah, this is what happens with clarity. If our document is clear, our sessions will be clear.
Yeah, and also being very spontaneous and trying to be present
Hmm.
and being organic is also very
Also.
important instead of trying to plan everything ahead. But this is
We
very
say,
enriching.
yeah, like I feel or overwhelm, it happens, no? Overwhelming. Like at some sessions, you do have to plan to maintain the justice. But in these sessions like this, where you're meeting peers and just, having a simple time, this has to flow organically only. And look what happened organically. It was
Yeah, yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
So going to
Architect
write.
Chetan is a very big architect in Bangalore. Like he's doing hundreds of projects, and
Mm.
he's quite famous. Quite. He also teaches. He does things, activities around biomimicry. So he takes
Mm.
people to nature walks and let them study nature and inspire from nature and design. So he's a lovely human. I see him as my father. So he equally resonates with me. He loves me. He's come to our house. He's attended our wedding. He's become part of our family, and I don't see that distance between teacher and student. It's almost like friends, and that's the space that he had given me. And I think that's the cascading effect of how I also uh, handle or work with my students. Oh, feeling very blessed, yeah, feeling very refreshed. It seems it is encouraging. It's going to work, is what I sense.
Yeah, same. I have a very similar resonance.
Maybe I'll call them personally and talk to them if they have, because maybe in a group they
Yeah.
didn't have time to discuss.
Makes sense. So tomorrow in the morning class, no? 9